great. So let's create a new campaign. It's right here. You see on the top right, this new campaign button. You're going to name the campaign. So what's the name of this campaign?
Lysol.
Sure.
It's just, yeah, 2020.
Great. And this start date, is it already started or it's starting?
It started today.
Okay, great. So it started today. Now the end date of this campaign, what this is it defaults the third party. So because a campaign, we're pulling in a lot of third party data, like Facebook, Polar, we need to set an end date for when you want to pull that data until. The reason we don't want to do it in perpetuity because it's just a really high data load and it would slow down the system if every single story we pulled in third-party data forever. So what we like to do is set where you think that the last time you're really going to need to report to this client will be on this campaign. Now, if it's an annual campaign, then we do want to set it for a full year. Do you think this is an annual campaign or does it have a pretty set date range?
I think it's going to be for the first quarter for now, but I do think it's an annual.
Okay.
We can add the end date because I know in DFP, actually, sorry.
I can check on.
We're going to check
Monday.
right now. Sorry.
Sure. You can always adjust these dates later.
I guess for now you can do March 31st.
Okay, let's do March 31st. And then you can provide an overview. This is just for your own information, but a high-level summary of the campaign. And that's in case you have multiple users, because you can add salespeople, project managers, anybody into this that you want. So sometimes you'll give an overview there. I'm just going to leave it blank for now. It's not a required field. So now I've created the Lysol 2020 campaign. If I have other people that are a part of this, I can add them right here. So I'm going to add you to this, make you a collaborator. Now, Rachel, you're an admin, so you'll have access to every single campaign, but I just made it so that it'll appear in your campaigns list rather than you having to switch over to all campaigns. I believe, let me make sure I've added, we need to add you as a user, I believe. Jennifer. Yeah, so I'm going to show you how you add users in a second, but let's finish up this campaign first. So now that I have this campaign in place, I can add a story to it. And a story, so a campaign is a container of stories, and a story is a container of data sources related to a specific article or video. So what is one of the publications that this Lysol campaign is going to be on?
Today.
Sorry, what was that?
Today.
Today.
Yeah.
We pick the publication. Do you have the title of this story, or is it live already?
Yeah, it's live. It's called.
I can send the link.
That'd be great. You can even pop it in this chat if you want.
We're trying to. We're new to Teams, so we're trying to figure out how to send it in the chat.
Oh, okay, I got it.
Perfect, thank you. All right, take that. And I'm gonna call this, for now, I'm just gonna, usually you're doing this before it's live, so I'm gonna just call this Dr. Jen in the title right now. You can put in a preferred publishing date. It's gonna be today. The reason that you'll put in this preferred publishing date is because the system will notify you if you put in a publishing date and there's no URL there yet. It'll notify you and say, hey, you said that this was going to be a publishing date. We don't see a URL yet. Basically, it's just a reminder notification. And then you can also use the system to collaborate with other people. So you could attach the draft of the story here if you wanted to house it in here because you have multiple people that are collaborating in this campaign. You can add creative assets like images, or if there's display ads or anything along those lines. And here's also where you'll create those trackable URLs. You can create a new link for this story. Maybe you call that Lysol link, and then you add that link here. And then you'll take what's produced out of that, which is the shortened URL, and you'll put that into your story. So that's where you'll create a new link. You can also create footer assets. This means that the system has the ability to add a footer into the story. I don't believe you're going to be using this, but it is a feature that's in here. So for example, if you had a call to action that you wanted to insert into the story dynamically, you can do that and we'll insert it wherever that div tag was placed. So a lot of publishers will use this because they want to have a call to action in the story, but it's time sensitive and they don't want to keep going back to their CMS and changing the actual article. They just want to change the footer. Or other ones will have a disclosure statement that they include, but by default there's none there. But you can add those new footers if you wanted to, and that's automatically built in the system. And then the last thing is tracking pixels. So let's say your client gave you a 1x1 pixel because they're doing some tracking. You can add it through the script. So rather than going back to your ad ops team, you can just add it here as the project manager can add it. You can add an image pixel. You can add any number of ones that are listed here: Google Floodlight tags, Facebook pixels, LinkedIn, etc. Okay. How often do you have clients that are asking you to put a pixel on the page?
It's standard process to push back against any pixels and implement something on the site. For security and restriction reasons, we say no, but there are definitely a few clients where there's an exception. So I'd say like maybe one campaign a quarter we'll have to implement a pixel, but we're trying to get better at that.
Yeah, so that's built in here if you did allow a client to do it and you didn't want to have to go back and forth with your ad ops team to because I imagine that that's tough to prioritize putting a 1x1 pixel onto a page. So you can add any pixels you want that are in that list just by clicking on new tag, and it'll automatically add them to the story. And only you guys can do that, so client can't do that. So I've added this information here: the title, creative assets, the publishing date, and then I'm going to let me just actually see what I did here. Right there. I'm going to add that. And now I've created this container for my story. And now I can add the different data sources that I want. So you provided me with that URL. So all I do is I add the URL of the story. And then we have this quick little pop-up that says, make sure the code's in place, any links that you have, and any banners are set up. This is just a reminder when you're putting that in place. I hit add. It's going to save it in there. And now this URL, as of this moment, is going to start tracking views, active time, scrolling behavior, all the Pressboard analytics. It takes about an hour for it to start showing the results, but it'll start as of this moment. You can add your Google Analytics, I said, and then does this one have a Facebook post? I know you haven't connected Facebook yet, but is there usually a Facebook post that goes along with your articles?
Yes, there usually is.
Yeah, so you just add that. You're going to have to connect your Facebook account to be able to add it, but you're just adding the Facebook post ID, and then that will come in here. Same thing with Twitter. And then we're going to connect your Polar account on the back end, and then your Polar data will come in here too based on this URL.
Great.
Cool.
So
that's it.
For Lysol, if I were to, let's say, I forgot to set up the campaign in Pressboard until Friday, could it retroactively pull in any data, or do I have to do it right when the campaign starts?
You have to put it in when the campaign starts because we're not passively collecting data on all URLs because you could theoretically add that script to every single page on your entire site, which a lot of publishers do. So you do have to initiate the data. So you have to put it. So a lot of people will put it in place as soon as they have the URL. So maybe you had this URL before today. So you can add it in advance of publishing. But if you add it after, then you're going to miss the data leading up to that date.
Okay.
Okay. And that's it. You can add as many stories as you want. Is there other stories with this campaign?
Not yet, but we'll be rolling out a few more, I think, throughout the next.
Yeah. So a lot of times people will, even when they're starting, if you know that you have, 5 or 6 and they're with different ones, they'll pre-create these containers so that you have the whole list of containers. And then you just need to add the URLs in the Facebook posts whenever you want. Now, the Facebook posts can be added at any time. It doesn't have to be the moment that it's only the Pressboard analytics that need to be added at a time. Same thing with the Polar data. We're going to pull in back data for every promotion related to that URL, no matter when you enter it. It's for the Pressboard analytics that you want to be timely.
Got it.
Okay. That's it. You've set up a campaign for Lysol. When you create a custom report, like the one that I showed you from Gannett, you do it right here. You'll create a new custom report. It'll automatically add any stories that are part of that campaign. It automatically fills in the Pressboard stuff, and then you add anything additional that you want from this list. You hit add, and you're going to have a custom report created for you, and you'll be able to share that URL. You can download it as a PowerPoint. You can add members to it. You can edit it. That can all be done right from there.
Great, awesome.
Cool.
Hey, Jared.
Yeah.
Just jumping for a sec. Do you wanna maybe click on the share URL for the custom report you just created?
Sure. So custom reports, once they're created, are found here. And then I'm going to hit share URL. Oh, yeah, Jay, fancy. You went and white labeled it already.
Ta-da! But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to show that we can always change that after if it's not the correct hex color. But yeah, if you refresh, Jared, it should be updated.
There you go. So it has now been white labeled for you, and you'll see here in this campaign. So in about an hour, we're going to start seeing analytics on this story come in.
That's good. And what's the typical delay in like the real-time data? Is it always a few hours behind?
It updates every hour. So it's accurate. We do a refresh of the whole data warehouse every hour. So all the data will be updated every hour.
Got it. Thank you.
And then, yeah, let's add a user actually while we're in here. So you go to settings, you go to members, and Jennifer, we're going to add you in here. Just grab your email from here. I'm just going to go off screen for a second. So there's a couple of different types of user roles that you're able to add. I'll tell you what those are as I add this. So by default, a user is added as a standard user. A standard user has access to the platform, but does not have access to the campaigns that are already in there unless they've been intentionally added the way that I just added Rachel to that Lysol campaign. And the idea there is you might have a lot of people in the organization that want access to only one campaign because it's for their client or they're handling that project. And an administrator gets to control who is added to those campaigns. Now, if you want someone to have access to all the campaigns, you make them an administrator, and then you save that. And so, Jennifer, I'm going to make you an administrator, and now you'll have access to all campaigns that are in there. So you make that switch here. There's a couple of other things that you'll see, which is one is a sales role. So these are additional features that you can add on. A sales role has the ability to create new campaigns. So Jennifer, by making you an administrator, you can look at everything, but you weren't able to create new campaigns until I gave you this sales ability, which is the ability to create new campaigns, add stories, and view what we call a sales summary, which is a different feature. Marketplace opportunities is we have this public marketplace that advertisers use to research publications. Right now, I don't believe we have NBC in the public marketplace, but you guys can add yourself there whenever you want. And that means sometimes an advertiser will RFP publishers through the system. And if I click this, it means that you'll receive those RFPs. But for now, I'm just going to leave it the ability to create new campaigns. So that's what role you have now. And you can add any new users. Now, right now, here are the users that you have. You have Phil DeLeon,
Yes.
Aaron Valera, AJ, Rachel, Sadat. So then you have your the Polar users that are in here, which are the rest of those ones there. And then I believe Jay and myself and our dev team. So those are all the users that are in there at this time. you can add whoever you want at any time. Are these ones still accurate? The Phil, Aaron, AJ?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Is Phil, Aaron, and AJ, should they still have access to the platform?
They can, yeah.
They're using it for the code, I believe. I think
Yep.
they were using it to access the code.
They're more our product managers, so they
Yeah.
have.
Yeah, they probably will never log in, but they have access if they need to go and get the code. Right? And that's it. I think the other features are ones that at this point you're not really going to use. We have this entire sales management feature, which is you can track client orders and sales summaries. And the way that you do that, you're building basically client orders that say how much someone paid for a campaign, what expenses were related to it, what publication it was on, and you can connect that financial information to the campaign so that you can start reporting on how much did Lysol spend with you in Q1, which publications was it with, etc. And you can track all of the entire studio basically can be tracked financially through here, and you can pull reports, etc. through there as well. Okay, so that covers it. Does that cover the initial use case? Were there other things that you wanted to cover today?
I think that's it. This was really helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.